If you're a leader, you've probably heard that AI is the future. But what does that actually mean for the business you've spent your entire career building? Well, in this explainer, we're going to cut right through the noise to demystify agentic AI, not for the engineers, but for leaders like you who are focused on legacy and a smooth transition. Let's get into it. Sound familiar? You're told AI is absolutely critical, but then every explanation is just buried in technical jargon that has nothing to do with your reality. Profit, stability, operational excellence. It's a really common frustration, and it's exactly why we need to have a totally different conversation. So let's be crystal clear. This is not about some science project or chasing the latest tech fad. This is about how you can use a very specific, controllable type of AI to strengthen the very foundation your leadership relies on. We're going to focus on business stability, not buzzwords. All right, so the very first thing we have to do is completely reframe how we even think about this stuff. Forget all the media hype about AI taking over the world or making some huge, risky bet that could blow up your entire organization. That's not what this is. Instead, I want you to think of it as a structured system, a tool for consolidation, really. It's designed to make the company you already have even better, simply by handling repeatable decisions with total precision, following your rules to the letter, and checking its own work. So, to really get this, let's separate the myths from what's actually real when this technology is put to work inside a mature business. This distinction is, well, it's everything. What's so interesting here is how this cuts right to the core concerns any leader would have. The myth is that you're deploying some wild, uncontrollable system, but the reality, it's a structured tool that actually strengthens your leadership by executing on clear rules that you define. It doesn't replace human judgment, it just frees up your best people to use theirs more effectively. So, what is agentic AI in plain English? Honestly, here's the best analogy I've found. Just think of it as your most dependable employee. You know the one? They have crystal clear instructions, they never forget a step, they never ever cut corners, and they get just a little bit smarter every single time they do their job. It's not deciding the future of the company, it's just handling the predictable work flawlessly. Okay, that sounds good in theory, right? But what does it actually do? How does this high-performing employee operate inside your business? Let's break down the simple, logical steps it follows. There's no magic here, really. It just follows this predictable loop. First, it understands a goal, something like process this invoice. Second, it takes the required action, like matching it to a purchase order. Third, and this is key, it verifies the result. Did the numbers match up? And crucially, if something is wrong, if the details don't line up, it doesn't guess. It escalates the whole thing to a human. And this is where it really clicks into place. Agentic AI just removes the operational drag. It handles all those routine decisions that slow your teams down. Things like routing support tickets or approving standard claims. It spots issues early, like a duplicate invoice, and it can even act as a safeguard, halting a payment if a vendor's bank details suddenly change, which can prevent fraud before it even happens. Okay, so it handles routine tasks. Big deal, right? Why should this be a priority for you, especially if you're a leader focused on your long-term legacy? Well, let's connect this directly to your core responsibilities. First off, it reduces the constant operational noise that just drains your organization's energy. When hundreds of these small, repetitive tasks are handled automatically, your managers can finally stop firefighting. Your teams can actually focus on the work that requires real judgment and strategy. The whole business just gets its rhythm back. Second, it makes your company fundamentally more reliable. When processes are handled consistently and errors are caught early, service levels just naturally improve. Decisions become cleaner. And this isn't a one-time fix. It's a compounding benefit that makes the entire business stronger, quarter after quarter. And this is maybe the most important thing for a late-stage CEO. It strengthens the company you're going to pass on. You're giving your successor a stronger operational base, with smarter workflows and way fewer hidden surprises. You're not leaving behind a business that needs fixing, you're handing over one that actually improves itself. Now, while the benefits are really clear, this isn't a fit for every single company at every stage. So the crucial question is your company ready? And what are the hard limits you absolutely have to respect?
Look, to build trust in any new system, you have to be totally transparent about what it cannot and should not do. These limits, they aren't weaknesses, they're essential safeguards.
So let's be crystal clear about this. Agentic AI cannot replace human accountability for leadership, legal, or ethical decisions. It can't override governance. It absolutely cannot run without human oversight. That's non-negotiable. And it's not a magic wand. It's not going to fix a fundamentally broken process. In fact, it'll probably just expose the flaws a lot more quickly. So, how do you know if you're ready? Well, the signals are actually pretty straightforward. You're likely ready if you have stable, predictable processes already in place, if you have years of historical data for the AI to learn from, and if you have basic governance. But most importantly, you're ready if your goal is steady, incremental improvement, not radical disruption. A lot of mature companies are way further along here than they think. All right, let's bring this all together. When you implement this correctly, with the right boundaries in place, this technology stops being about risk. It starts being about something much more important to a leader: securing the future. And this is really the key takeaway. You're not reinventing the company here. You are simply installing a new capability that creates a smarter, more reliable version of the very business you have poured your life into building. It just strengthens operations quietly, without disrupting the people and the systems you already rely on. Ultimately, it really just comes down to this. In a leadership chapter that's defined by legacy, by continuity, and by predictable performance, adopting agentic AI isn't a bet. It's one of the most prudent and meaningful decisions you can make to ensure the organization you leave behind is resilient, stable, and truly built to last.